We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, don't you just love the world of technology, eh? We've been trying to get live for a little while, but we're here now, and we're here and live, ready to answer your questions in the wrestling community. CM Punk shoots on Hulk Hogan on Monday Night Raw in an impassionate promo, pipe bomb, if you will, saying how he's going to win the Royal Rumble. We're answering all things Royal Rumble related. Is it the most stacked men's Royal Rumble match of all time? It quite simply could be with the names we've had announced so far. I know NXT wants to touch on the subject of one Miss Britt Baker. We're going to be talking about all things pro wrestling, Monday Night Raw, Penta's impact so far, and much, much more. But get involved with your questions as well. We'd like to know your thoughts and feelings. But we'll kick things off by talking about one Mr. CM Punk. He likes to get quite impassioned, doesn't he? We're going to get the thumb out, by the way, because we usually do it at the start of the video, but we weren't able to today. But you can see there, CM Punk impassionately saying he will kill Hulkamania. Look at the reaction from Jackie Redmond as well there. To be fair, she made that almost as much as Punk's words, to be honest. That facial there is amazing. But it started off by saying, you know, he is great under pressure. He knows under the bright lights, that's when he performs his best. And of course, he then went on to say, you know, John Cena, he doesn't see him throwing him over the top rope. When it came to Roman Reigns, of course, Roman needed CM Punk to deal with family business inside of War Games. Of course, there'll be no friends inside the Royal Rumble match. He's already left Drew McIntyre in the dirt. Sami Zayn's not even on his level. And Hulk Hogan, if he was to turn up, he would turn him into dust and he would kill Hulkamania forever, which got a rousing reaction of applause and happiness from Texas as well. It was fiery from CM Punk. What a promo. One of my favorite moments from Raw last night.
I mean, dude, promo of the year so far?
It's up there, isn't it? It's got to be.
Look, man, when you're referring to Hulkamania as Dusty Mania, then geez. Look, man, he's always been that kind of character. Just weird that it's like up in the crowd, like they seem to be doing more of these off the cuff in the crowd interviews, which aren't a bad thing. It just seemed a bit weird when I initially watched it. But other than that, man, dude, it's a great CM Punk promo as usual. Going back to the original comment you made about being a stacked Rumble, I just had a look and 9 people have already declared. And I'm like, can we just leave it at that, please? I don't really want everyone declaring for the Rumble. But, yeah, man, just in general, just a great promo itself. And, I mean, is it a shoot? Maybe. Is it Punk being clever enough to use a bad moment in creative to make make him hype himself up? Do you know what I mean? Turning a negative and turning it into a positive by using it. I don't know, man, but yeah, man, it's just CM Punk being CM Punk, really.
Absolutely. And I mean, CM Punk obviously knows, like you say, to get a trigger from the crowd and obviously get a moment that will create a headline. He knows how to get the focus on himself, and that's what CM Punk has always been all about. And to be fair, he's used this one to his advantage. Like you say, probably the worst moment of the Raw on Netflix debut, used to an absolute T from CM Punk in this one to make it the highlight of the show. But I will answer the question because why not? Is it something you want to see? Do you want to see Hulk Hogan eliminated from the Royal Rumble from CM Punk?
No, I don't want to see Hulk Hogan again in a WWE arena. Look, he had his time, and he was a big star for when he was there. I think there's big stars now that are bigger than Hulkamania, and I think they should just honestly leave him in the past. I think there's bigger stars you could use that are still around, like, for instance, The Undertaker and Austin, which I think would get more of a reaction. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know it's a business thing because they've bought part of his Real American Beer or whatever, and it's something to do with that they're bringing him in, but dude, do you really want 50, 60, 70,000 people? Say, for instance, they bring back up Mania again. Do you want that many people booing Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania? Do you know what I mean? What a way to spoil the weekend is to have a 78-year-old man just booed, like having the life booed out of him by that crowd.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same. Like, you know, it's great for a pop in a promo, but I don't want to actually see it in action, like you say. Then, now, and forever, Hulk Hogan is simply in the then category, and I think that's where he should stay from now. And like you say, ultimately, like, the real American beer, like you said, that's the reason they started the partnership to begin with. And hey, everyone loves beer, so yeah, well, not a problem with that. It's advertisement for WWE. It's making them money. It's probably making Hogan money as well, to be fair. So yeah, we'll leave that there. But let's go into the comments. Say hello to everyone that's joined us so far, and we will go on as well to talk about the stacked Royal Rumble field that we have so far. Pierre's in the house says hello, guys. He says, does the new TNA champion Joe Hendry have everybody's attention now? I'm sure he does. Hello to Pierre, by the way. Thank you for joining us, as to everybody else. Yeah, your reaction, Joe Hendry, finally TNA World Champion. It's been a long time coming.
Long time overdue. Like TNA almost TNA'd themselves with this one. Like they almost failed it again. But luckily enough, yeah, man, dude, this should have happened months ago. Because it was getting to the point where we was like, have they dropped the ball and missed this opportunity? And with the hype that the guy had, it's died down a little bit in the recent months since he's lost that match, that original match to Nick Nemeth, sorry. And you kind of sitting there like, does he still have the same appeal? So I'm glad they've still done it. The real test now will be where they go from this point forward, what Joe Hendry does as champion, how they can turn like him being champion into a positive. Like obviously the whole TNA WWE crossover thing is now a thing. A lot of people are expecting him to be in the Rumble. I know there's a booking contradiction with it because he's supposed to be on, I think, Jericho's cruise.
Oh, really?
Which is, so Rumble's on the 1st, and he's supposed to be appearing on the 2nd. I think it's the Jericho cruise. So it's kind of like if he does make an appearance at the Rumble, he's probably going to be one of the early entrants, make his appearance, and then leave because I think he's got to fly to Cuba to get onto the boat because that's where it's supposed to be docking or whatever. So there is an opportunity that he might not be at the Rumble, but I think that they'll do anything to get him on there, especially because since he's now TNA champion.
Yeah, I mean, I was of belief that he will be in the Royal Rumble in some format, and like you say, you said this previously, it'd make a lot of sense to be an early entrant in the Royal Rumble just to have that full Joe Hendry style entrance that we can have and see how many people would actually go along with it at the Royal Rumble, because it seems like it got over with NXT quite quickly with their audience. So I imagine how many of the mainstream audience, and certainly a Royal Rumble show, Indianapolis, it's going to attract like 50,000 fans. Ticket prices are not cheap. It's usually a hardcore fan base that goes to these type of shows. You would imagine that a good portion of them would know how to go along with the Joe Hendry, how his entrance theme goes. But I haven't seen, I'm going to say openly to everyone already, I've not seen Genesis, not at the time yet. I will make time to see it. I'm aware of some results, not aware of others. I was aware Joe Hendry had won the World Championship. Saw his appearance on Busted Open Radio. I saw a short from it anyway. And I remember Bully, and I believe it was Mark Henry that was there, and saying like, who you looking over your shoulder to now that you're the champion? Because obviously you have a target on your back. His answer was John Cena. Which completely shocked Bully Ray. And of course, why wouldn't it? Because Joe Hendry said, this is what I want to make happen. He's apparently John Cena has endorsed TNA. Obviously, the partnership has been announced. And he said, well, let's see if we can make the magic happen. And he believes he can actually share a ring with John Cena and hold his own on the microphone. And to be honest, something I would quite like to see. I'd be invested in that.
Can you imagine the numbers TNA would pull if they announced that John Cena was going to appear on one of their shows? Like, I know we do like spoilers, but obviously in terms of hype and promotion-wise, if TNA announced John Cena will be appearing on TNA, a one-on-one showdown with Joe Hendry, he's going to challenge him at, I don't know, whatever TNA pay-per-view at some point this year. Dude, imagine the hype it'd be. It'd be so good for TNA. Like, again, we've stated a couple last week, whenever it was, that the partnership's a really good thing anyway. But if you can get these mainstream stars on TNA, like looking at the crowd at Genesis, it looked like the crowd itself. The look of the crowd looked like they were going back to the old ways of like how they'd fill a 10,000 seater capacity arena. Like, I know previous pay-per-views have been very small and congested, but genuinely Genesis felt like a real old-school pay-per-view for TNA.
I like it. I'm really excited to see the show. I just, hopefully in the next 20 to 48 hours, I get the opportunity to sit there and watch it. Just to go back onto the John Cena thing very quickly. Could you imagine if this went down? John Cena, for example, wins the Royal Rumble, goes on to WrestleMania, does not win the 17th world title, tries to win the other world title, doesn't get the job done. In an attempt to win a 17th world title, tries to beat Joe Hendry for the TNA World Championship.
I mean, at this point, John Cena's pretty much favourite to win Money in the Bank as well. So imagine he takes that Money in the Bank briefcase to TNA and cashes it on Joe Hendry.
Like a feast or fired contract, isn't it? It's make or break for John at that point. Speaking of TNA, Roy here in house, how are we doing? Well, Roy says PCO left TNA. Do you think WWE or AEW would be interested in signing him? Great question. This one, obviously, PCO wasn't involved on the TNA Genesis show, but he was at a GCW show and didn't take too kindly to that Digital Media Championship, actually destroying it with a hammer. From what I've understanding is that TNA are livid with that what happened, and understandably so. Do I think WWE or AEW would be interested? Personally, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't mean this nastily, but PCO's getting on a bit. He still can go. He's still, puts his body through things that I don't think a person his age should be. I think someone, he does things that Jeff Hardy would have done in his 20s politely. Do you know what I mean? But I just feel to myself, I don't see WWE having interest. He's been there and done that 30 years ago. AEW an outside chance, but I just don't see where he fits in. I don't see how he would be someone that would be featuring regularly on a Dynamite or a Collision. I think he would just be someone in the background. So personally for me, I see PCO actually doing stuff like GCW. I think that's his way moving forward. He's on the indie circuit, maybe an outside chance New Japan, but I think the indie circuit is the place for PCO moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, dude, especially in that Digital Media Championship with Sledgehammer ultimately sort of sets his fate in stone when it comes to TNA and WWE. I don't think he'll be going back anytime soon. I just don't understand why TNA would release him from his contract and still have him as champion. That's the only bit I don't understand. Whether it's a case of they want to get rid of the championship and not use it anymore, which, to be fair, going forward might be the smartest idea, because the last thing you want is a championship on your show that was destroyed by a previous employee. This is going to be going back to like the whole who was the female wrestler that dropped the WWE Women's Championship in the bin on WCW?
Medusa.
Do you know what I mean? It's going back to that kind of thing. It's like you're going to bring back a title that someone smashed up with a sledgehammer because he was on. Like, from what I heard, GCW were trying to use that as some sort of plot point for a story going forward, but apparently PCSO went over the top with it and went beyond what apparently they were supposed to do. So yeah, the guy's pretty much set himself in fate. But if TNA are going to bring that championship back, rename it or bring something else in.
I never was really a big fan of Digital Media Championship. It's a bit of a mouthful for me, that one. I'm not really a fan of the title, really. But CD has actually said it's been taken off the TNA website. The belt is over. Going to go into the bin, just like the 24/7 championship. That's it. Off it goes. PS is to us here. I feel like some of the ex-TNA superstars are going to become WWE superstars, like Jordan Grace, Josh Alexander, and PCO, since they're leaving TNA. I mean, that's the thing with this partnership. It kind of works both ways, you could argue. The fact that TNA probably going to get some bigger gates. They're going to get Robert the Green with some WWE superstars, but at the same time, WWE might be taking some of their best talent. Obviously, won't have to worry about TNA stars perhaps maybe going over to perhaps an AEW moving forward if they're, getting some appearances in NXT, for example. They're getting a relationship with Shawn, with the talent, get maybe to meet Triple H. It feels more likely. And I mean, when you look at those names there, I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Alexander was to sign on the dotted line with WWE. I think Jordan Grace is an absolute cert at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, Jordan Grace is just a case of where in WWE, because she's almost too good for NXT. But you kind of want to see Jordan Grace versus Julia because it sounds like a killer match that you really want to see. Josh Alexander, I mean, dude, the guy's good. He's going to get work wherever he goes. More than anything, it's really just down to him and kind of the work schedule he wants. I mean, I said this last week. This partnership just essentially means that TNA is now a developmental brand for WWE. But on the plus side, there is the opportunity for TNA to go out and employ their own talent, which WWE probably wouldn't necessarily touch. TNA brings these people in, and then that gives them an opportunity to get into WWE if they go through the means of TNA to get there. Do you know what I mean? So, for instance, Tessa Blanchard, not everyone's favourite person at the minute, but TNA have taken a shot on her. It's a very brave shot because obviously she has a lot of history and a lot of stigma when it comes to everything outside the ring. But if she, like I said, if she can turn it around, make it work for her, she proves that she can be responsible, she can do the job and everything else. By all means, her proving that TNA is then a reason for WWE to turn around and go, maybe we should bring Tessa Blanchard in. I don't think they should, because at the end of the day, what she did is still what she did. But like I said, I'm using her as an example of, like I said, people that WWE wouldn't normally touch. There is via TNA a way now to get in there.
It's very well said. You haven't put a word wrong there on that one. There absolutely certainly is an opportunity for perhaps people that wouldn't necessarily get that chance to have a proving ground. CD says Josh Alexander had a perfect run in TNA. I have to agree, but he's done everything there and faced everyone there. It's time for something fresh. Absolutely. So let's ask the bold question: Josh Alexander, WWE, AEW, or somewhere else?
I mean, ultimately, I think NXT is probably the best place for him. It's a consistent weekly basis show. He will be a massive star in NXT. I think if he goes AEW, he's going to kind of get lost in the shuffle of everyone else that's been a big star in another company that's gone there. So for me personally, I'd say go to NXT. I mean, like I said, like we were saying, with this whole TNA WWE thing, there's a chance to go back to TNA and do some more stuff that he wants to do. But like I said, I think NXT would be his best spot.
I agree. I think if you ask me what I want, I think NXT, like you said, there is a gap in that men's division for someone like Josh Alexander to come in and take NXT by storm. He could actually be someone that would be, I don't say instantly, but I would say someone that within 6 months or so could be the person that could take that title from Obafemi. He would be someone that you go, that's believable. Get yourself through the door, get himself established. Boom, there you go. You could make him the face of NXT. Whereas I feel like you say, go to AEW. I mean, yeah, Continental Classic in December, maybe a few collision appearances here and there. I'm a wrestling fan. I like my wrestling. I support every company out there. I think people that watch this channel for a long time knows that stuff without me having to go on for it for about 2 minutes for you. But I have just lost a bit of interest in AEW recently. It's just nothing is hooking me the same way. Now, don't get me wrong, Ricochet's heel turns doing it. The feud with Swerve I'm quite enjoying. However, everywhere else I'm not so invested right now. And I just feel like when you look at someone that has the opportunity to go to A or B, I think NXT would be a no-brainer for Josh Alexander at this particular point, but that's just me personally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same as you at the minute. I think the only thing that's really kind of interested me at the minute is like, dude, if I want to watch a really good match, I want to go watch Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
Tony Storm's whole like amnesia thing that she's got going at the minute, and she thinks she's a rookie back in the company again. I think it's fantastic, man. It gets a laugh, like gets me laughing every week. And if you can get me laughing, you've automatically won. But yeah, I'm the same, man. I think like NXT should be the place for him to go.
Absolutely, indeed. Yeah, I would agree with you on your points of the high points of AEW at the moment. Noob in the house, hope you're doing well, Noob. Thank you for joining us. Look forward to your questions very soon as we go down the ladder. We've got good to see Joe Henry finally winning the big one, CD. It's about goddamn time. Perhaps in my opinion, like I said, it should have happened at the same anniversary. Damn, everyone was disappointed when it didn't happen at Bound for Glory. As NXT said earlier, had they dropped the ball, but thankfully, looks like they haven't. Genesis was the place to do it. CD goes on to say Liv Morgan is going to get her revenge on Dirty Dominic Mysterio at some point. No way she's going to let it slide when Dirty Dominic Mysterio tries to get back with Rhea Ripley. You're goddamn right on that one. But certainly, Monday Night Raw this week, probably one of my favorite moments outside of the CM Punk moment with Carlito just coming into the shot and being thrown straight back out by Raquel Rodriguez. I thought that was an amazing moment. It does feel like that the implosion of Judgment Day is imminent. I have a feeling we can get Dirty Dom versus Finn Balor at WrestleMania at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, possibly, but like that dude, I don't know, man. Like Judgment Day, we've been saying for weeks that it's going to break up. I said a couple of weeks ago they weren't going to do it because they've just given them new music, and like, what's the point in spending money on someone producing a new entrance theme tune just to break them? I don't know what they've got and what they're going to be doing with them. I mean, at this point, apart from Liv, I can't see any of them getting on the WrestleMania card. Is Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor really WrestleMania worthy? I think that's the biggest problem. I mean, if you're gonna, for instance, put every championship on the line at WrestleMania, like we've got some, like it'd be stupid not to put the women's Intercontinental, Women's United States Championship on the WrestleMania card. And if you drop one of them two for Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor, it almost seems like a waste. Like, to me, that's kind of a Raw after WrestleMania sort of finishing storyline. That's something that should happen then, but I can't see it happening on WrestleMania, dude, honestly.
I'll have time will tell on that one, but I do agree with CD. Liv Morgan is going to get that revenge at some point. It's just when, not if, and how it's going to be done. We'll have to wait and see, CD. I'm intrigued to see everyone's creative ideas of where they think it will happen. PS says, what did you think about the Tom Pestock, of course, aka Baron Corbin, Bloodsport match against Josh Barnett in GCW? I personally haven't seen it, so I can't really comment.
I hope it was good. Yeah, I haven't I very rarely watch any GCW stuff just because it's not my shtick, but I hope it went well for him.
Absolutely. I've been asked about Tessa Blanchard at TNA Genesis. As I say, guys, not seen it, so therefore cannot comment at this particular moment.
I will give them props because I texted you this. The match they had was killer. It's honestly really, really good match. So that's a positive. Do you know what I mean? That's a good start for Tessa Blanchard. But like I said, it's not the wrestling you've got to worry about with Tessa Blanchard.
Absolutely. The thing is as well, though, what I will just point out very quickly, none of us know her personally. None of us know. We have we seen, have we not? I'm not defending anybody, but I'm just saying, don't know her personally.
I think with a lot of cases, it's kind of like if one person says it, you kind of you have to take it with a pinch of salt. If more than one person say it, okay, you kind of start to get a general gist of a character of someone. But you're right, we do not know her personally. So, like I said, starts with the good wrestling. That's a plus.
Absolutely. And that's where we watch. And that's how we're going to judge today, unfortunately, for those that are wondering with the other stuff. Do we believe in Joe Hendry? Mick Gresser asks. Yeah, of course. We have to believe in Joe Hendry at this point.
No. Never believed in him once. No, dude, always, man. Hopefully he's in the Rumble, man. It'll be good.
That would be awesome if he is. CD says, John Cena winning the TNA World Championship as his 17th world title would make the situation too messy. WWE hasn't recognized the TNA World Championship as a world championship for years. It's true. It's a good point. It's a very good point. For me, I like the idea of John Cena getting desperate if he hasn't won that 17th world title.
Yeah, I mean, it's very true because obviously I think the TNA Men's Championship actually hasn't been on WWE TV at all. Like, we've had the women's one appear multiple times, and like I said, if it makes an appearance, that's like I said, if Joe Hendry's in the Rumble, that's WWE acknowledging it. And I said this last week, I'll say it again. WWE at the end of the day, they're looking to buy TNA. They want that tape library. It will imagine a year, 2 years down the line, that's probably maybe become an option, depending on how well TNA is performing. But if, say, Joe Hendry's in the Rumble, it's then law. It's kayfabe, man. TNA Championship Realist exists. John Cena can go and win it.
There you go. Except for the man himself. Ric Flair, though, could then say he's a 25-time world champion. To be fair, Ric Flair will keep adding that to that number. As soon as it's broken, he'll say it's more anyway. You know what Ric Flair's like. Although we don't know him personally. I should throw that out there. But PS says, I'm happy that Chelsea Green is the Women's United States Champion. Lyra Akira is the Women's Intercontinental Champion. And they finally have the spotlight they deserve. Very well said, Pierre. 100% agree. And I think both are going to be very good inaugural champions.
Yeah, I mean, I see a load of people giving Chelsea stick this week. Like she doesn't deserve to be the United States Champion. And I'm like, I'm sorry if you just not been watching TV for the last year and seen this is the great stuff she's put on. But, dude, yep, I think two deserving winners. I'd have been happy with either Lyra or Dakota Kai, but, yeah, definitely two deserving champions.
Absolutely. The thing with Chelsea that she has as an advantage with a lot of other people is the character work. The character work is second to none. She stands out. She's great. Like from what you hear from people backstage on interviews and stuff, they say she's great to work with. I'm going to point out the Nick Aldis interview with Chris Van Vliet in particular. He said that she's a breeze to work with. Loads of ideas, creative ideas as well. So yeah, I mean, you see it on TV every week, and yeah, she gets over with the crowd. People cheer her when they're meant to boo her, so she's clearly doing something right. CD says that TNA doesn't care about the TNA Digital Media Championship. That's two of us then. They just took off their website with it. It's quietly been retired. Johnny in the house, thank you, Johnny, for joining us. Believes that Hulk Hogan wants CM Punk and Pat McAfee in the triple threat match at WrestleMania. If that's true, Hogan, you're the only one. CD says
Pat McAfee.
TNA's never done a good job having a mid-card belt. The closest they have is the TNA X Division Championship, and that one, I would say, has been booked superbly over the years. Mike here says SCU. Absolutely, SCU. And Christopher Daniels looks like he's done after the Texas Death match against Hangman Page on Collision.
Yeah.
Look, as someone who's not really watched all of his work throughout his career, because he's been everywhere. There's a post on, like, I've seen it on Facebook and Instagram, whereas like he's been in about 20 different promotions, but he has been doing a lot of good work over the years, and I've got to say that he's going to be sorely missed. Christopher Daniels has done some great stuff, and we mentioned the X Division on the last comment there. Certainly been a great holder of that championship. Great with his tag team with the Addiction, SCU as well, mentioned here by Mike. The Fallen Angel even in the light heavyweight championship tournament back in WWF in 1998.
Yeah, dude. He's had a great career, man. But I think, like everyone knows, he's more into the producing side these last sort of 12, 18 months, and that's where his career is going. I don't know. Like everyone, I suppose, has their final wrestling match. I just thought they would have made a bigger deal out of it than. Do you know what I mean? It's just appeared out of nowhere, and that's his last match. Do you know what I mean? I thought they were like, you know how like obviously Cena's having this final run. Jeff Jarrett's apparently having a final run, and Christopher Daniels is just like, yeah, this is my last match.
Yeah, just came out with it out of the blue. It's a shame,
Yeah.
but yeah, I still, again, I've not had the chance to see it, but I will make some effort to go and watch that match in particular. Johnny says Jordan Grace can help the mid-card titles and divisions on Raw and SmackDown. 100% agree with this. This is, I want to see Jordan Grace versus Chelsea Green for the United States Championship at WrestleMania. That's just something I'd like to see in the lower card of the show. But NXT, would you be up for that if she wasn't to go to NXT?
I don't necessarily think the titles need help. I just think they need to have good matches, which will in turn do them justice. But Jordan Grace definitely versus Chelsea Green at WrestleMania, man, count me in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing is with Jordan Grace, if you put her in straight away, it doesn't have to go straight to the top. I think that's where I feel Johnny is referring to. Like I said, mid-card, so those divisions just started, but if you're going to establish up a name like a Jordan Grace, it helps make it the division stronger.
Yeah, I mean, by the looks of it, Piper Niven may be Chelsea's first real rival for that US title. I mean, I know she's faced me chitting. I think they're teasing the whole breakup of her and Piper. But if Chelsea's going to retain all the way through, then, dude, why not have Jordan Grace come in and be the first? Because Chelsea Green's lost to Jordan Grace, and Chelsea Green knows that, and that's what they can play off of.
Yeah, and the things they're making reference of TNA all the time now, so it's they can easily go back and play with that as well. Pierre, great question to bring up about Charlotte Flair here. Do you like the rumors that Charlotte Flair will change her gimmick and become a Dark Queen, a female version of Seth Rollins? There's been lots of different variations of rumors going around, obviously, until she makes a return, because we've heard this on previous returns. Charlotte Flair's going to change the gimmick. She comes back, she's exactly the same. She doesn't change anything. I'll believe it when I see it, but what I will say is the vignette we had for Charlotte Flair on this past week on SmackDown, it was a very interesting way, because it was like not just going on the side of in-ring dominant queen that's a 14-time world champion. It was almost like a glamour as well. Like there was like this idea of, expensive jewelry, big dresses, on a boat, on a yacht, if you want. Are we getting Emelina 2.0?
I was just gonna say that. I was trying to think of the name, and I was like, she comes out and just buries the whole gimmick in 30 seconds, goes back to being normal Charlotte Flair. Dude, isn't that what Charlotte Flair's been this whole time? Is just elegance, and do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't. Look, man, there's some people that can't play a face. For me, Charlotte Flair is one of them. If you bring her back as a face, it's just going to be terrible. Bring her back as a heel, keep her as a heel, and that's really it. Look, would I mind a change in presentation? Sure. Get rid of the glitter, get rid of the spangles. Just wear black. Just dye the hair. Do something, man. Do something, but just make sure she's a heel. That's the important factor with Charlotte Flair, because she is so much better.
Have her as a heel, turn Andrade heel, power
Power
couple.
couple.
That's what I want to see.
We've been saying
If
that
I
for
had my
ages.
way. And everyone loves Tiffy time at the moment as well. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. That's Tiffany's dream match. Do that at WrestleMania. Can Charlotte win the 15th world title? I know people don't want to see her win world titles, but it's WrestleMania. It does make sense to do that match there. And I think that'd be a good way to go.
The good thing as well is having them as a power couple is you can have them both be IC title champion, United States champion, world champion, WWE champion. You can both have them wearing the same championship belt. It's perfectly set up in place for this. Like, there's so many couples on the roster you can do it with, but if you're going to do it with someone, you do it with Andrade and Charlotte Flair. It makes all the sense in the world.
I mean, Andrade always looks like $1 million when he's dressed up in the suits and the glasses. Like, it feels like it's like meant to be. Then he takes all that off, he gets in the ring, and he just feels very like, I don't know. There's nothing interesting for me when I personally see Andrade in the ring, apart from a great in-ring style. But I don't really get invested in the stories of the matches. But if he's got Charlotte Flair alongside him, I feel like that could change really quickly. It's a completely change of dynamic. All of a sudden, there's assisting promos, there's assisting feuds. I mean, we don't really see the guys and girls mixing it up like that enough, I don't think. So, Andrade can be a ringside for Charlotte matches. Charlotte can be a ringside for his matches. And they could have something fun with it.
Yeah, I think if at anything at this point, Andrade needs Charlotte, because he's kind of in this limbo stage, and Charlotte doesn't need to win world titles. Her legacy is kind of already set, which is why putting them together just makes so much more sense.
Absolutely. But for those that are going to not like this sentence, it's going to happen, though. She's going to win 2 more world titles. It's just going to happen. She will win it 2 more times. CD would like to see the North reunion in NXT. Of course, Ethan Page and Josh Alexander, for those that are wondering. Yes, so would I.
I'm going to say no, because I'm really enjoying Ethan Page's solo run, and we didn't get much of it in AEW, and we're getting it in NXT, and I'm kind of content with it at the minute. Sure, at some point, but at the minute I'm enjoying him be a solo star.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, I don't need them to stay together. Just an acknowledgement of the past maybe could be quite fun. But Johnny says Josh Alexander could go to Ring of Honor. I really hope he doesn't. Yeah,
then we'll never see him ever again.
No, he would just, he would disappear for us completely. We don't watch Ring of Honor, sadly. Pierre's not too invested either in AEW right now. Seems to be it's not just us. Also, we have...
it's the Death Rider story. They need to do something with it, because at this point, it's just boring.
It's lost. The wheels are coming off very fast, and it's not holding...
I mean, just looking at what they got going on at the minute, I particularly do not care for Jeff Jarrett versus MJF. Like, I hate to say it, but Jeff Jarrett is essentially, it feels like, to me, his story is piggybacking off of John Cena having one final year in wrestling. And Jeff Jarrett's kind of gone, oh, well, I'm going to do that as well. And then you've brought MJF in, and they're banging on about winning a world title, but yet they're not doing anything with the world title. They're not involved in any way. They're not having matches for it. They're not involved in the Death Riders. I'm like, what's the point? To me, it's just a really pointless story at the minute.
The thing is, the Death Riders have this title. They don't even show it on TV. They're supposed to take the company hostage. Logic would put that, like the rest of the company, the big names would put their differences aside, get that belt back, and then feud with each other. But it's like, I don't know. All these people
go and win more of the titles.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I've lost interest.
Yeah.
Are you happy that JBL keeps showing up at TNA pay-per-views? Yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm not against it.
I mean, I'd like to know why. I'm sure that a plot or a storyline would be enjoyable, but I don't know. Dude, as long as Frankie Kazarian didn't take that title away from Joe Hendry, I'm content.
There you go. Dominic, as I say, I've still not seen Genesis, so I can't answer any further. Dominic Snake is a snake. Honestly, we'll say allegedly there, Pierre. We'll keep that one like that. Piero asks, why is JBL does his clothesline held to everyone on the independent scene and TNA, and does nothing in TNA with his interference?
Because he's JBL and his clothesline from hell was like the scariest clothesline in business. Like, it genuinely, as a kid growing up, the one move I never wanted to take was a clothesline from hell from JBL because it just looks devastating. And I imagine if anyone talks smack to JBL, he just does it to him. Santino Marella has been on the end of that, so I'm pretty sure he knows not to mess with JBL.
And he's the DOA as well.
He's not apparently part of TNA either. His contract's been he's been released as well.
Oh, really? Yeah,
apparently, him, PCO, and Jordan Grace were apparently 3 names that have all been released from TNA, or their contracts are up.
Interesting. Santino for the Rumble, everybody. He's a former runner-up. Natalia should have won the IC title, best women's wrestler in WWE, and a legend there. We've got a call for Natalia. Maybe she'll get a crack at some point. Certainly would be the right division for her to go for in the meantime, in my opinion. PS says, you know what I'd love to see at WrestleMania 41, Rhea Ripley versus Jordan Grace. I mean, it does sound like a good match, though. I can't lie.
It does sound good, but it's just ultimately too soon. It's about 15 months too soon.
It is a bit too soon at this moment, but I still want to see it. I still want to see Rhea Ripley versus Bayley, which is now a possibility. Bayley's on Raw. Let's just quickly, before we go into more comments, your thoughts of Bayley going to Monday nights?
Very good, but unfortunately, I don't think she's going to be on the WrestleMania card. I think she's fighting Roxanne Perez at Stand and Deliver, unfortunately. I think that's the plans for Bayley. They can't get her on the WrestleMania card anyway, but dude, content that she's there. There needs to be some more chops and changes, though. Like, they seem to be slow burning these. Like, I know they actually mentioned that the White Six have gone to SmackDown yesterday in an interview with Karrion Kross, who, God, he needs to be doing something as well. So, yeah, good, man. It's good stuff. See something fresh. I think, for me, Bayley needs something. She's desperately in need of a gimmick change or a different presentation, because we had Hugger, we had Hill, and we're kind of in this weird tweener stage, and I'm not digging it in a minute. But like I said, she's on Raw, new matches, new faces. Hopefully, we can get something going forward.
I mean, it's a bit disappointing. Excuse me, my throat there for a second. It's a bit disappointing that we didn't get a conclusion with the Bianca stuff that's been playing out in the background over the last year. Like, there's been we're not friends, then we are friends, and obviously Jade Cargill's been taken out. I thought she would be the perfect person to put then. If Bianca has done it, say, look, this is the person who did it. Have Jade take her out, and all of a sudden, then it's like we realised later it wasn't. But I guess that smoke screen's not going to be there. Jade will just come back and say it was you, if it is Bianca or whoever did it. And like you say, Bayley's gone to Raw, and she's lost her first match there, which doesn't really give a lot of hope, really. But it's nice to see her on the Raw roster. I do think she needs a change. I think a heel turn probably be the right thing for her. She is on the same now brand as Damage Control. So if they're all faces, that they get back together, or maybe she should turn heel.
I hope not, man, because it was they seem to be separating Dakota Kai from Io and Kairi Sane. So I don't know, man. They need to do something. They need to completely freshen up the women's division, over there, or just in general with that faction. There's a couple of them that need chopping and changing and moving around, but dude, Damage Control lost its hype very quickly when they couldn't pick up a win to save their life. Going back to the point about the Jade Cargill story, yeah, you're kind of basically saying now that Bayley didn't do it, and I think that's going to be thrown away when she comes back as well, like a Rumble return, and it's gonna kind of be like, oh, it was you, throw you out, whatever. But at this point, I think it's probably going to be Naomi. Naomi
could be a good shout. No, I wouldn't. I would be totally up for Naomi. She needs a character change as well at this moment. I don't need a happy birthday glow hat on going into War Games anymore. So yeah, I'd like to see something different. Shout out to Fernando, who's in the house. Fernando, thank you for joining us. Says Jordan Grace wins the Rumble and challenges Rhea Mania. What a debut that would be if she was to be on the main roster.
It'd be good, but I think at most she makes Final Four.
I would say Final Four at this stage, but Fernando, I'm not against it. I'm just going to leave it there. Definitely. Pierre says, I feel that the storyline with the Death Rider invasion will lead to nothing. And unfortunately, Pierre, I think you're right. I think all this, when we thought was some higher power or some sort of description, Absolute bollocks. It's not happening. This is just John Moxley just talking drivel every week, and it's going to lead to absolutely nothing. It's just we run this place until someone can take us down, which if the company has about 3,000 superstars on their roster who decide to get together, pretty sure they could take out 4 guys. But so far, no one's clever enough to do that. So yeah,
who's on the injured list for AEW realistically that can come back and take that title? Is Joe still injured?
No, Joe's back. I know Joe's back, but
that's right. Yeah,
yeah.
Kenny's back.
Kenny's
So
back,
who?
but yeah. I don't know at this point. It's Jeff Jarrett, isn't it?
Who's
Vote
the
for
biggest
Jeff Jarrett for
babyface in the
world
company?
champion.
It's Ospreay, isn't it? Ospreay's the biggest babyface at the minute.
It should be Ospreay, but it's probably not going to be.
No. I mean, in terms of presentation and kayfabe, Ospreay is top babyface at the minute, right?
I would argue it. I mean, the thing is, he doesn't win every high-profile match, but he probably is. Swerve would be the other one, I would say, that's probably in that category.
Yeah, but he's kind of tweener at the minute with the whole Ricochet thing. Like, so yeah, but I could. Yeah, it's probably between them two. Yeah, no, I was just out of interest. I was just generally wondering who was top babyface at the minute because ideally it should be that person, but if I don't even know because there's no clear, no standout answer for me, then yeah, who knows where they're going with that.
I mean, the thing is, when Orange Cassidy's been a main person going for the title for the last 2-3 months, it's it's an open door, I think, at this particular point.
Yeah.
Speaking of open doors, no one knocked on this guy's door for a while, but will he be coming back to WWE? Aleister Black, the Federation will give him back his Roots of Evil theme song. I love that theme song. I hope they would give him that song back. It was awesome. You're right there.
Your transitions are so good, man. Just the off the cuff about knocking on the door, and then you talk about Aleister Black sitting behind one for ages and not answering it. Jesus, sorry, that tickled me. That one was a good one.
It was a complete fluke, I won't lie. Just so Aleister Black's name was like, oh, hello, I can work something here. I do think he's going to come back to WWE. I think it's just when, not if, 100%. But I hope that song does come back.
This is actually brings up the interesting point I wanted to talk about with Britt Baker, just because Aleister Black is on that list as well. Is I hope 100%. I don't think he's going to be back in time for the Rumble. I think he's still contractually obliged, and they're not going to release him till after the Rumble, which would be a shame because, dude, I'd love to see him come back. His song, again, Root of Evil, great song. I think it's possible because it's not a WWE song. It's actually from a band, so it's still like you can still listen to that on Spotify now because it's made by a band. So that's still a possibility as well. But in terms of Black leaving AEW, and like I said, move on to Britt Baker as well. I was saying to you before we started, it seems to me that everyone that leaves AEW is kind of tarnished as a black sheep, doesn't want to do the job, is bad for the locker room. I mean, like, look at the list of people. CM Punk, obviously, yeah. CM Punk is CM Punk, but Britt Baker, Lexus King, Aleister Black, Penta, Ray Phoenix, every single one of them, they're all tarnished as black sheep. And I'm like, I don't get it. Are you trying to do damage control? Because it's like, at the end of the day, whatever you say or do is not going to stop WWE from getting that person if they want that person. Point proven. They've gone out and signed Penta. They've gone out and signed Lexus King. They've gone out and signed Ethan Page. They've gone out and signed CM Punk. I don't understand why every single person that is out of favour with Tony Khan or with AEW is just instantly listed as a black sheep that doesn't want to do the job. And that's it. I think Britt Baker is the latest victim of that. I know there is obviously stuff that you hear on the dirt sheets, but I find it too coincidental that every single release is a problem. Do you know what I mean?
It sounds a bit Vince McMahon like from like 2019. Oh, Keith Lee's a problem. Oh, this person's a problem. You know, It's just like, yeah, those rumors used to go around. It's a very good point you make. And I'm sure those people, if they do leave AEW, will land on their feet.
If you look at Penta coming into WWE, by the way, dude, the guy has one appearance and he's already been made a bigger star than he was in AEW. Like, they gave him a mic. Sure, he went long in his first match, man, but it's his first match. But the guy has he's had 2 killer matches now. One with Pete Dunne, one with Chad Gable. And do you know what I mean? They've made him already feel like a much bigger star. But you know what I mean? It was like, he's a black sheep. And it's like, well, he's not. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, I think every wrestler everywhere wants to go to WWE. Like, every wrestler. Before AEW was a thing, where did people want to go? WWE. When WCW, do you know what I mean? When AEW was the only thing, everyone wants to go there. And because your contract just so happens to be up and they turn around and label you as a black sheep, it's kind of like, look, man, WWE has this gravity around them that pulls people into it. And it's like, if they want you, it's pretty hard to say no to the biggest wrestling company in the world. And it just annoys me the way that, like I said, everyone gets tarnished with this black sheep sort of thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the thing is that this is coming from someone who's a massive Penta fan. I have got a lot of rose-tinted glasses for Lucha Underground. I absolutely love Lucha Underground. I think it was amazing. Penta was one of the stars of that, who used to break arms, become a world champion, the stuff of Vampiro. I just used to love all of it. Like, you know, the Ceremia and great matches. I remember one of the matches with Rey Mysterio at the start of season 3 was just if you haven't seen it, make time to go and watch it. It's freaking awesome. And then he went and obviously did his stuff in Impact Wrestling, became world champion. And I was like, oh, hello. You know, I was happy about that, seeing there, Ray Phoenix as well. And for me, 2018 is probably my favorite year from Impact Wrestling. There's a reason why. And then he went to AEW, and obviously him and Ray Phoenix were just presented these tag team wrestlers. Now, don't get me wrong, arguably one of the greatest steel cage matches of all time against the Young Bucks. The ladder match that they did when they started at Double On, I think in 2019 with the Young Bucks, was awesome as well. But for about 90% of the rest of the time that Pentagon was in AEW, wrestler with mask. No presentation, no special feeling. Yeah, some banger matches, but never progressed further to what this guy should have been. I mean, this guy, when they did All In, was going against Kenny Omega. He was built as like one of the big deals, but yet for some reason he was struggling to even get in the TNT title picture singly. When he was with Tag Team Gold, you know, bland program of FTR, which should have been fantastic. Where was the feud with Santana Ortiz? They never did that either. And it's just loads of different things. You just look back at it and go, God, this is just a letdown. And then all of a sudden you start to forget what you saw with Penta in Lucha Underground. It's like, well, is it to the tango? You know, it can be the booking, but it can be something else as well. Maybe Penta's not as invested as he once was. You never know. But you see him come to WWE, like you say, you've seen him for 2 weeks, and you only needed one night to see it. Oh my God, I'm back to where I was. Penta's one of my favorite guys again. I'm like, hello, I can't wait to see this guy face all these different people on the roster. Give me Braun Breaker, give me Carmelo Hayes, give me, you know, I want to see Rey Mysterio again. I want to see these matches. I'm like, come on, Seth Rollins. There's all these killer matches Penta can have. And I genuinely believe this guy could be an Intercontinental Champion at some point this year. And I'm looking forward to seeing the prospect. Don't be surprised to see a Penta t-shirt on this guy in 2025, because I can tell you what, I'm freaking into it, man. I'm so happy to see him there. The promo was amazing as well. With Spanish, didn't understand half of it. Didn't need to. The passion was there. So next, Steve, take the floor.
Dude, the fact that he's already #1 merch seller in a week. But like, they released 2 t-shirts, a hoodie, and a mask, and the guy goes #1. And you can't tell me that guy doesn't have pulling power. There isn't something special about him when you've like at any point when he was in AEW, was he ever a #1 t-shirt seller? I very much doubt it.
Probably not.
1 week in WWE, he's #1. All right, yeah, sure, we don't know the actual figures, and it could be just like, you know, absolutely do kayfabiness and being like it could be rubbish, but it's very unlikely that they do with stuff like t-shirt sales. I think even he tweeted it out himself that he's #1, and it's like, yeah, sure, but dude, he's just been presenting 2 weeks. He's presented like 90% better than he ever was in AEW for me.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to say, when it comes to that t-shirt, my size has already been sold out. So I do know that they've been selling. They have
the white
been
one
selling.
or the black one?
It was the black one. You know,
if that white one was a black t-shirt with that mask design on it, whew, sign me up.
This time, you know, it's like there's new t-shirts every week for Jey Uso, so you never know if Penta's on a roll. It may continue like that. And yeah, everyone knows the Sarah Miero as well. They're all getting into it. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously debuting him in his hometown kind of made sense as well. But on the thing of Britt Baker as well, like we obviously briefly mentioned it before, I'd like to see Britt Baker go to TNA.
Me too. We
I
spoke
think,
off air.
yeah, without saying it, we're like where we think she should go. I think if you're going to replace Jordan Grace, Britt Baker is the one to do it. I know they've all taken the gamble on Tessa Blanchard, but I think TNA, especially for her schedule, because obviously she still actually is a dentist as well, and I think like they're still filming a couple of episodes every like 3 weeks or whatever. I think it works out great for Britt Baker, and you could bring her in and make her top champ in TNA.
And controversial, but I tell you what, Britt Baker versus Tessa Blanchard's a big match. That's a high profile match for someone like TNA. So that's it would do some numbers for
Don't
sure.
get me wrong. If she turns up in NXT, I'll be happy for it.
Same.
But I think in terms of being a massive wrestling star, being top division star, you put her in TNA, she's instantly number 2 on the roster behind Masha Slamovich. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Masha Slamovich is doing fantastic work as well at the minute, and props to her for what she's been doing. I like that though. You said before we went on air, we didn't say where we wanted her to go, and you were like, I think you'll think the same as me. And I was like, well, we'll have to wait and see. I was like, is he really going to say TNA? I'm not sure about that. As soon as you said it, it was like, yeah, we thought the same. Yeah, we did.
We've been doing this too long.
We have been. Fernando feels the same as us as well. Charlotte versus Tiffany at WrestleMania, although I'm not sure we'll feel the same about this one, although it could be quite fun. Joe Hendry versus John Cena at WrestleMania. Could be one too far, maybe.
If it's for that TNA title, sure, why not? But I think it's Cody Senior for me.
Absolutely. Who will become the? Hang on. Yeah, sorry, I'm not getting these. The finger's not in the keypad well enough here. Who will become the 17th world title and break Ric Flair's record first to you? It will be John Cena.
I'd be very surprised if it's not. I mean, at this point, I think the only other person is Randy that can possibly get to it at the minute. Probably. Maybe Edge if he was to return to WWE, because they don't acknowledge stuff outside of it. Yeah, I would be very surprised if it's not John Cena.
Have to wait and see. Fernando thinks that Josh Alexander New Japan is perfect. To be honest, it's a really good fit. To be fair, it's a good show indeed. Johnny says that WWE and TNA should release a joint DVD together, the best of AJ Styles. DVD? Where are we in? But yeah, documentary for sure. Definitely get it on the Netflix for us. So get it on TNA Plus. I'd certainly be down for that.
Yeah, definitely, man. This is the good thing about this TNA relationships now. They want to do video packages, especially with like Chelsea Green. They've got access to the TNA video library now, which they can do all that kinds of stuff. It'd be great.
I'm sorry, I know that this is not going to happen, but I genuinely want to see the TNA library move to Netflix at some point. I just would make my day.
I do. I mean, we've been trying to do a TNA pay-per-view review for ages, so hopefully one day.
One day. We're keeping it in there. It's in the pipe dreams. We will do it one day. SCW Rewind returns tomorrow, by the way. We're going to do Royal Rumble 2000. I know we're not really promoted it this month, but it's just one that we really wanted to do. And it's 25-year anniversary. So we thought, why the devil not? I'll be dropping tomorrow. Johnny says, I hear Tony wants Alicia Tout. I never get that right. Versus Karen Jarrett. Well, yeah, I hope that you've heard wrong, Johnny, on that one. But fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But Charlotte Flair is going to break her father's record. That's a good shout for a 17th world title. Makes a lot of sense there.
Very good shout.
Yeah, ask the question, with John Cena retiring and Hiroshi Tanahashi retiring, is AJ Styles next? He certainly could be.
No, Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett. And Rey Mysterio, I don't think it's too far away either, if I'm honest.
Next Mania, 42.
Yeah, we'll see. Dominic
Mysterio is retiring his father.
Yeah, Dominic definitely will be doing that.
Say sorry.
I was just seeing here that every week I get disappointed when don't see Natalia wrestle. I'm very sorry to Mrs. Imsuke. Mrs. Imsuke, yeah. We're sorry about that. Hopefully next week you'll get your wish. Fernando says Roxanne eliminate Bayley from the Rumble, set up a Mania match. Not be against that idea. I think Roxanne should definitely be in the Rumble this year.
Yeah, I just hopefully don't. Like, I'm expecting one TNA entrant for both the Rumbles and 2 at a push 3 for NXT entrants.
I would say probably 1 or 2 for the men's. 1, I think, is probably the most you'll get. I think could be 2 or 3 in the women's, because I think that's the place where there is a few gaps still in WWE's roster that they could do that.
I mean, not really. They've got quite stacked divisions now. I mean, like, I can think of about 20 wrestlers off the top of my head just from the main card for women anyway. Just like, if you're going to put Masha Slamovich in there, Jordan Grace is probably going to be a surprise one. That's two of them. Like I said, NXT, you're probably going to get Roxanne Perez, Julia, because she's NXT champion, Stephanie Vacour, Kalani Jordan. Do you know what I mean? People who are in or around title scenes at the minute, I think you're going to get.
I love the sound of Kalani. I didn't consider Kalani Jordan for the Royal Rumble, but now I hear it. Quite like that. I hope that one happens. Fernando reckons Kenny or Will Ospreay should take down Moxley. I'm down with either of those, to be fair, at this point. Hurt Syndicate has got a more clear direction. I 100% agree with that as well. The Hurt Syndicate, to be fair, one of the highlights of AEW. They're presented like $1 million right now. And yeah, the presentation of them is what I want to see for more people in AEW.
I think with those three, it's kind of like they had the gimmick anyway from WWE, and it's kind of just copy and paste. So those guys pretty much are writing their own narrative there. They know what they're doing. They know how to present themselves like $1 million, like you just said. So they're essentially the safest bet at the minute in that company.
Seems to be indeed. Alistair Black and Cody have unfinished business. Certainly would agree with that. Although Cody's business is a lot more finished now than Alistair Black's at this point, I would say. Cody did get to finish the story after all. PS says, just go from I need to see. Yeah, needs to see at WrestleMania 41, Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Feeling like that that match elevates the Women's IC title to a serious level, and I feel Lyra needs that match and needs to beat Becky to retain the title to be elevated. It's a very good shout, I would say, because obviously did it in NXT. Becky put Lyra over in NXT with the Women's Championship there. Certainly took her to a different level at that point. To do it at a WrestleMania or on the main roster in general would be fantastic, would be great for the IC title as well. However, not to burst the bubble, I do see Becky going against Rhea one more time at WrestleMania at this point if I had to predict, but I would say that if it was not to be what I think is going to happen, I would not be against this idea. I think this would be a really good way to go.
Yeah, it will also show that top card women's wrestlers aren't above the IC and US title. If you're putting them, it almost raises the titles to the level of top card women's wrestlers.
Absolutely, indeed. Yeah, I agree with that 100% there. Byron, thank you very much for the kind words. Awesome channel. Thank you. Really appreciate it. And if you're all enjoying so far, please hit the like button, share with a friend, subscribe as well. If you are new here, we've got a couple of new faces today, which is nice to see. Thank you for joining us and interacting as well. We'll continue to answer your questions. And like I say, I know it sounds a bit boring when I say hit the like button. It's just, it lets YouTube know we're here. And it's just those little details help the channel grow just that little bit more each and every day. We really appreciate everybody's support. Johnny goes on to say that Penta probably made more merch money in WWE than AEW already. It's probably true. Britt Baker apparently, reportedly, is good friends with CM Punk. CM Punk might help her come to WWE. You never know. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, CM Punk is actually going to be good friends with Bayley as well. I do wonder if that has anything to do with Bayley's move to Raw as well.
Possibly. I mean, I think I was watching your video actually when you was talking about Hall of Fame inductions for this year, and you mentioned a certain AJ Lee, didn't you?
I might have done.
Yeah, that was the inkling I got, and I thought, yeah, if you do bring AJ Lee back, Bayley versus AJ Lee in a match, absolutely.
Freaking sign me up for that one. At the moment, if I had to guess for Bayley's WrestleMania opponent, if she was on Raw right now, Liv Morgan.
Nah, I think Liv Morgan needs to be in that title scene. I told you this, man, when we did was it Saturday night's main event where she lost the title to Rhea?
Yeah, Raw Netflix debut, yeah.
Raw Netflix, sorry, Netflix. Yeah. I told you, man, Liv needs title to get to Mania. Rhea doesn't, and now unless Liv wins the Rumble, she's going to struggle to get on the Mania card in a minute. And I just don't see the. Like I said to you, I don't think Bayley makes Mania card. I think she's doing stand and deliver. It's going to be her versus Roxanne Perez.
To be fair, I think you're right. Then that hurts. I think you're right. I think the Bayley Roxanne. I'm really excited about Bayley versus Roxanne Perez. I think it's amazing. Stand and deliver is also. Bayley's done multiple WrestleManias as well, so it's not as if she's not been on the WrestleMania card before. I mean, Roxanne could always get the call up after the Royal Rumble when it's actually on WrestleMania because Tiffany Stratton was a main roster superstar after the Royal Rumble last year. But at the same time, for Liv Morgan, if not the women's title picture, I'm going to throw this out there. A returning Alexa Bliss?
I mean, yeah, sure, it's got to make sense, but I don't know, man. Like, I just think Liv's worked too hard this year to not be in the title scene for Mania. Like, she's been champion all year. She's been there every week. You know what I mean? She's managed to stay injury free. She's been most consistent. She's been on TV. She's had the most high profile women's story for the year with the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour. And it's kind of like, we get to WrestleMania season, it's kind of like, yeah, don't worry, Liv, you're just the bridesmaid this year. You're never going to be the bride. Do you know what I mean? I just think it's almost a waste. And like, dude, sure, it might make sense if they put her with Alexa Bliss, but I really hope that they manage to get her in the title picture somehow.
No, I completely agree with you. I'm just trying to think of something different. And one thing I had heard of, I'll give Gorilla Position the call for this one. I think it was James D'Lo that made the shout for this one. Apparently, you heard the reports that it could be the White Six versus the Judgment Day, and that's what made me think of Liv and Alexa Bliss if Alexa was to come back to be a part of the White Six. But at the same time, White Six now on SmackDown. Judgment Day would need to move as well.
And Nikki Cross exists.
Yeah, she does, but she's outside the ring a lot, just being completely nuts.
Mind you, Judgment Day have two because they have Raquel. I forgot about Raquel, and that's in
That's true.
2 on 2, yeah.
That's true. It could be a women's tag team title match if the titles get dropped between now and then as well. We've been asked, would you like to see any NWA wrestlers in WWE, AEW, or TNA? Is it Natalia
NWA still going?
It's still going. Natalie or Natalia Markova, I want to say. I've seen a little bit of her work. I think she could be interesting to see in that dynamic. But I haven't watched NWA for a long, long time.
I am currently going through the roster page, and honestly, I know one person, and that's Murdoch. I do not know. Oh, Burchill. I know Burchill.
Is Burchill there?
Burchill's there, yeah. He's it says here,
Wow.
ring veteran Burchill arrived in NWA after a 25-year career and became an instant competitor in the heavyweight division. This is the NWA website as well. I'm pretty sure some of these are actually WWE ID talents, but like, I honestly, EC3, they'd been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. So it's a very Homicide. You want to see Homicide back in WWE?
I mean, I feel like no. I feel like we're past their best. To be fair,
there's a wrestler on here who looks a lot like Zelina Vega. Tiffany Neves is her name.
Okay, interesting. NWA watchers, let us know. Should any of the talent there be in any of the other three companies? Even if it's a, let's say, crossover show, doesn't have to be that they leave the company to go somewhere else.
Ricky Morton, who's on the roster.
Yes.
Yeah, get Ricky Morton back.
Ricky Morton.
100%.
He didn't get a fair crack in WWE in '93, so yeah, he definitely deserves another
Tom
crack.
Latimer's world champion, apparently.
Is he really? Oh, fair play to him.
Yeah.
Good to see. He was in like the mid card when I was watching, so it's good to see he's at that level now.
Yeah, I tell you what, dude's jacked as well. He looks like the cowboy.
James Storm.
James Storm, there we go. Yeah, that's the one thing. Not Hangman, the cowboy I was talking about.
There's a good rivalry back in TNA back in the day, I think, with those two. So yeah, or I think they may have been stablemates at one point. P.S. I love the women's wrestlers like Jordan Grace, Masha Stamovich, and Rosemary. Good selections there indeed, Pierre. Byron wants to see Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. Also wants to see Seth Rollins versus Gunther at WrestleMania. Both would be excellent matches, I am sure. But
Gunther facing at this point.
Seth Rollins, I think at the moment. Seth hasn't got a clear path at the moment.
I mean, maybe Cena if Cena wins a Rumble? I don't know.
It could happen. Yeah. Or Goldberg.
God, no, please, God. It's very likely. That's the scary part.
It's a chance of it. There is a chance of it. Are you enjoying WWE on Netflix so far? Mrs. Imms UK is loving it. And do you know what? So am I. There's only one thing I'm disappointed about with WWE Netflix so far is the Raw and SmackDown vaults. That I want more episodes in the vaults. I want to go and do my retro watching that I like to do, which I can't currently do. Other than that, I'm loving it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they had like all the TNA back catalogue on there for me, and it turns out that their back catalogue of TNA is just every takeover, which I'd said in a previous video. Like, I think we'd done like what to watch on Netflix when you first watching wrestling for the first time, and I said one of the takeovers and realised, oh, it's not on there. It is actually, that's their back catalogue for NXT is the takeovers. So yeah, I just like the back catalogue of TNA. That's
one
TNA, NXT. Sorry,
that's all right. No worries. Because say one show that you actually would be devastated to learn is not on there at the moment. Survivor Series 2019 is not on Netflix at the moment.
Why?
It's just a big gap of like 10 years of no Survivor Series, like in the 10s somewhere.
Oh, that's very strange.
Yeah, it's very
Survivor
strange.
Series. Why would you do that to me, Netflix? I don't know. I imagine a lot of it's just editing out certain parts that can't be shown on Netflix, for example. I don't know.
I think they're just what I'd heard, and I've not heard from credible sources, but I've read things online. Netflix wants to make us have to wait over the 5-year deal to get everything. So it's kind of like they're going to release things in dribs and drabs, and it's kind of like they're going to keep us wanting more so that we remain subscribed to them. Not as if there's not like, loads of other things to watch on Netflix already, because most of us probably already have a Netflix account. So we're not going anywhere. Just give us what we want, please. Just give us the whole thing.
Already, for God's sake.
Exactly. I sound like an addict. It's not good. PS says
Netflix syndrome.
I think we need to have the TNA World Champion Joe Hendry, TNA Knockouts Champion Master Slamovich, Jordan Grace as a full-time WWE superstar in Rumble matches this year. Pierre, you might just get your wish. You never know. Do we agree that Austin Aries is the greatest man that ever lived?
I'm going to say no. There's people out there that aren't wrestlers that are probably a greater man than Austin Aries.
You can always think you're the best at something, and there's always someone out there that's probably better. It's a harsh reality of life.
Good point.
So, sorry, Austin. Penta and Rey Mysterio versus the New Day at Mania. We thought we'd get Penta and Rey together. It didn't happen, did it?
Nope. Keep them two as far apart as possible. I do not want Penta anywhere near the vortex of LWO. They honestly, pointless having them. They brought that faction in to sell merch, and they've done nothing since. And it's been a peeve of mine for years that they've got all these fantastic like luchador wrestlers, and they're not doing anything with them.
Do you know what? I 100% agree with this. And do you know why I'm going to put this out as a particular standout for this video? I hope that StreamYard, if you're watching, capture this on the show. I need this on the show. Rey Mysterio needs to go back to being Rey Mysterio. Watching SmackDown this past week, where he got to just be himself, then have the setup with Kevin Owens, the match with KO, thoroughly enjoyed that. It was like a throwback to watching Rey Mysterio in the noughties. Absolutely loved it. Like you say, LWO has been a complete waste for it feels like a long time now. It's just, like you say, it's a t-shirt to sell, nothing else. Everyone that's in that group, other than Rey Mysterio, is not getting their time to get over. Dragon Lee is vanished off the face of the earth. It's time to break them up, do their own thing. And like you say, I want Rey back on SmackDown. After this past week on SmackDown, Rey, I want him back home on the blue brand. I want to see him doing the 619 stuff until he retires, because I genuinely loved it. I felt like a dream match watching him versus KO.
Do you know? This just made you talking about Dragon Lee. They need to drop this Butch stuff with Pete Dunne, because you are tarnishing Pete Dunne with the gimmick of Butch, and it was bad creative that you got rid of. And now you're insisting on playing on it. And this is going to be a case of, if he's with WWE for the next 10 years, people are still going to refer to him as Butch. And Pete Dunne is better than a stupid character name. And that's the one. I think I'm actually my biggest peeve with WWE at the minute, is the whole Butch thing. Honestly, drop it. Because Pete Dunne's not exactly picking up wins or doing something to change people's mind about calling him Butch. So don't do it. Because for as long as R-Truth is going to be there, he's just going to be called Butch. Anytime he's a heel, the crowd, he's tarnished with the name Butch now.
I agree. For me, I was fine with it when it was the R-Truth feud, but now it's still carrying on, and it's just like, now it's time to drop it. Now it's time to move on. Like, it was funny because R-Truth is R-Truth. He gets away with anything. Like, and he's funny as hell. But like, you know, it's different now. We've gone further on past the R-Truth feud. It needs to be dropped now.
But any time Pete Dunne is going to be involved in a title scene going forward now, something that someone will always use as ammo against him is calling him Butch. And it's stupid. Like, there's no way he's not going to lose that monarch now, and it really irritates me.
Absolutely.
He's such a good wrestler, and he could do so much better than a nickname called Butch.
Totally agree, 100%. Match against Penta was match of the night on Raw. Was fantastic. Pete Dunne has many great matches on Raw. He's a showcase wrestler. I want to see more of those as well.
They mentioned the Rev Pro match that those two had. They mentioned Rev Pro.
No, take that AEW. Not that we're taking sides here, but yeah, the WWE is trying to work their market. They know what they're doing. When Rey Fenix finally signs with WWE, should he and Penta team up again or be singles wrestlers? I think eventually a team is fine, but I would start them off as singles wrestlers because I think Phoenix actually is the next Rey Mysterio if they want to go down that path. Penta, although he looks like the next La Parka, he generally just is, you know, he is the first Penta. He could just go and do his own thing. But I do think eventually they should do the team stuff. But if you go again back to Lucha Underground, they were not a team in Lucha Underground. They were opponents. They were people that would actually go and fight on the roster. So I want to see that again.
I'm actually happy that they didn't bring them in together. Like, Tony Khan almost not releasing Rey Fenix is a blessing in disguise because now people get to experience Penta. And I'm the same as you. If they bring Rey Fenix in, as much as he should go to the main roster, or if he does go to the main roster, keep him on the opposite brand from Penta. Like, keep him away from each other. The tag team thing is a thing they can do at some point in the future, but you've got a perfect opportunity here to showcase two wrestlers and their skill sets. And I think if you have them as the tag team is like, that's something to get to later on once the world has seen these two skill sets. And like, if you didn't already know they were a tag team before and what chemistry they have, when they finally come together and they're on a pay-per-view stage from WWE Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, it's just going to be special, man.
Certainly is going to be. Can't wait for it indeed. The War Raiders should face the New Day at Mania for the belts. I honestly hope the New Day win those belts before Mania. Just my feeling on it. Not that I have anything against the War Raiders being on Mania. Just at the moment, I can see when they do Mania for the tag titles, it seems to be multiple teams the way they seem to do it these days. So yeah, I'd expect more teams to be involved in that at this point. I'm guessing this is a question for me. Sid, thank you very much. Are you happy that Graham Potter is the new West Ham manager? Actually, the answer is yes. I'm seeing improvements in the team, although I didn't see it against Crystal Palace. But I have seen it in a couple of the games so far. He's just been dealt a bad hand. Too many injuries, some bad signings been brought in. He's going to need some time to do his own thing, but he's bringing some of his old Brighton backroom staff in. Compensation from one of his transfer analyst from Chelsea looks to be coming into the club, which I'm looking forward to seeing. But Sid, know your audience before putting this comment in, my friend. Goodness, he's glad that Man United knocked Arsenal out the FA Cup. So
am I. Honestly, our team's so injury plagued at the minute that we really couldn't do with extra play in its games. Like, I'm glad we lost to Newcastle as well. I know we've got to go for a replay, but like, honestly, we're too injury ridden at the minute, and out of the cups is the best thing for me. Just focus on the league and the Champions League. But anyway, back to wrestling.
There we go. Back to wrestling we go then. Who should face going to the menu for the world title then?
This is what I mean. This menu card is so dumb at the minute because I haven't got a Scooby. John Cena, Logan Paul, Goldberg. There's a handful of names, but I want it to be someone who Gunter is going to have a killer match with. That's what I want, because I think that's the thing I haven't seen in ages is a killer Gunter match. Maybe he might have one with Jay this weekend, but you never know. Like I said, it could be Roman Reigns at this point, because who knows?
PW Insider reported the idea of actually it could be Logan Paul.
As long as Logan don't win, I think it'd be too soon for Logan Paul to win a world title.
Just the thing is like, because WWE for the first time this week actually did this thing, by the way. It's like, oh yeah, outside the United States, you know, everything's on Netflix. Like, they started doing that on Raw. They probably won't do that on NXT and SmackDown, but it's like for the rest of the world, PLEs, it's all Netflix. I wouldn't be surprised if Logan Paul wins the world title this year. Just going to throw that out there. Don't want it to happen. Just wouldn't be surprised if it happened.
Way too soon, dude. I get where you're coming from, but it's way too soon.
I agree with you.
Who's he taking the title off? Because I'm telling you now, if he took it off Cody, can you imagine how much the internet wrestling community would dump on WWE for making Cody lose that title to, of all people, Logan Paul?
I think it's going to be the World Heavyweight title. I don't see it being the WWE title. That's
but
why
Cody's coming to Raw, and Gunther's going to SmackDown. So that doesn't work.
We'll have to wait and see.
Unless he wins Money in the Bank.
It's always a way as well. We're going to do Money in the Bank predictions far too early. I was going to do it for this video, but we'll save that for another day because we've got so many great comments and questions in today. Pierre, thank you for bringing this one in. Wants to see Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania 41. Well, Raw this past week threw a little teaser out there. I liked that tease.
Before this was even mentioned on TV, like I know normally around April time we do our like fantasy booking 12 months in advance for WrestleMania 42 or the next WrestleMania. This was going to be my world title match, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. I think if they're going to do it, WrestleMania 42 is the place to do it.
It would be freaking amazing to see them do this. I mean, obviously the idea that KO was like, you know, well, I've got your back, Sami. Have you got mine? Because if I walk out world champion, I know you're going to win the Rumble. We can make that dream come true we wanted, we talked about for the last 25 years. It's like, KO, well done. Check.
Dude, I'm telling you, and look, they're also teasing this whole NWO Drew Seth KO faction. Like, after the finale of Raw last night where Sami ends up booting Seth in the face, you're just at this point, you might as well just pull the trigger on it because this is getting to the point where it's like terrible spoilers in a situation. But yeah, man, yep, KO versus Sami is my main event for WrestleMania Night 1 next year. Night 2 will be Punk versus Seth.
Oh, I like him. I like your picks there. Let's go with Byron's surprise entrance for the Rumble. He's got 10 in total. Gone with Goldberg, former world champion. AJ Lee as well. Roxanne Perez, Trick Williams from NXT. TNA's Masha Slamovich and Joe Hendry. Returns of Charlotte Flair and Randy Orton. Debuts of Josh Alexander and Jordan Grace. And then unexpected Becky Lynch and Aleister Black returns. Fantastic.
They're all fantastic shouts apart from Aleister Black because he's the only one I wouldn't be too sure on because I don't know if his contract is up or not yet. From what I heard, it might be, but it also might not be, and it might be a case of that he doesn't get released until after the Rumble because the Rumble would be a perfect time to bring him back. But they're all great shouts.
Absolutely, indeed. Camille, it was NWO's best women's wrestler signed, shoved for AEW to be a bodyguard, has not been used on TV in ages. Waste of good talent. I believe she's injured though, but yeah, bit of a waste. Looking forward to her though against Mercedes when she does eventually come back to TV, if she does. Johnny's about to get in NXT's good books. WWE should bring back the Cruiserweight title.
100%. Dude, they've got so much talent on there. Like, you want Dragon Lee something to do? Cruiserweight title, man. Give him, start from the bottom, build him up again.
I agree.
Oh,
perhaps give it to this guy.
Champion.
Yeah, he's the speed champion.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, it's got the speed title, but we don't watch speed, unfortunately. LWO is a rip-off of the NWO. Absolutely, indeed. But it sells merch. It does today. It did back in the 90s as well.
Yeah.
Roy wants to see Tyler Bate to return. He's one of his favorite wrestlers.
Close, apparently.
Yeah, we'd like to see that. Oh, maybe by the Rumble? Big strong boy in the Rumble?
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Would love to see it. It's good and bad that Tony Khan pays wrestlers while they're at home healthy. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's good they still get a paycheck. It's bad that they are at home. I mean, someone like Ricky Starks on his interview with Chris Van Vliet wasn't quite sure why he was at home. So, yeah. And yeah, then he got pulled from his indie dates, which wasn't helpful after that.
Again, another one tarnished with the black sheep marker. Do you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. Absolutely. Johnny's suggestion for John Cena's last match, by the way. Dominic Mysterio should defeat John Cena in his last match.
Wow. That's not actually a bad shout if you want to put Dominic Mysterio on a pedestal. Like this, almost along the lines of I'm trying to think, like, who else retired someone that really wasn't expecting them to retire them? My brain has gone completely blind. I would say Randy. because Randy obviously is the legend killer. I'm sure there was someone else that retired, and it was Baron Corbin beating Kurt Angle in his final match. Like, wouldn't have expected that, and that for me is along those lines. And I think that would be. I think it's a really good chat, to be fair.
I haven't heard the Kurt Angle. I mentioned Chris Van Vliet about 4 times in this podcast. So apologies about that. I like usually on the drive to work. There's usually one of those podcasts listening through each week. I've not listened to the Kurt Angle one yet, but I've seen a little thing where there's a short clip out where it's like Kurt Angle wants to be in John Cena's retirement tour. I'm like, I really want to see Kurt Angle, but just come back for one more match.
Yeah, if he can get in shape for it, and it's like the problem they're going to have is like, can he still do it? And obviously, if you're not, it's getting rid of the ring rust.
It'd be difficult, and I mean, Cena's not in the best, or wasn't in his best ring capacity the last couple of times we've seen him. So I'm hoping that will be different now when we do see him make a return at the Rumble.
Yeah. Agreed.
Have we seen the last of Brock Lesnar? Probably not. At least the photograph will probably pop up on social media over here and there.
He divides opinion. He's like Marmite. You either love him or hate him. I think for me, I think his time is gone. And I like when he was in WWE, he's the next UFC fighter that's like, who do you honestly believe could beat Brock Lesnar in a wrestling match? So I don't personally want him back. I would just want the company to move on with something else.
I'll take my want out of it. I'm going to say what I think. I don't think we've seen the last. That's what I will say. I think that we've been talking about Gunter a couple of times in this. I think there was a Lesnar Gunter match that should be able to be presented to everyone. I think they will do it.
Really good shout.
And possibly this, and Bron Breakker as well. And Bron Breakker versus Gunter. Bron wins and vacates the IC title. It's a shout for Mania. Be fun.
It's like Hogan Warrior.
Absolutely. Roy went to McDonald's, collected his order, did the Broken Matt Hardy gimmick. Wonderful. Wonderful. I bet it was wonderful. What did you order? Fancy a Mackie now as well. Do you think Sami Zayn will be turning heel?
No, Sami Zayn is the babyface from Mania 42. Like in my dream fantasy, KO is the heel with the title, and Sami Zayn. Go back to last year when Sami was going up against Gunter. I want that Sami Zayn against Kevin Owens as my main event for WrestleMania.
What I like with Roy's question, there's not actually a time frame on it. Like, you know, it's like, is he going to turn heel now, like with KO, or is he going to turn heel ever? As this seems a very open question, Roy, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to give the credit somewhere else because I heard it and I really liked it. Gorilla Position, and it's my boy Max, WrestleMania UK. He's a fantastic YouTuber, by the way. Go and check him out if you haven't already. And he suggested the idea that Jey Uso finally wins the big one, wins the World Heavyweight Championship, and eventually has a match against Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's never won a world title. Their friendship, their brotherhood. And in that match, in that moment, is when Sami turns heel, just kicks Jey Uso in the balls, wins the title. And it's kind of a case of like, you know, when Daniel Bryan cheated to beat AJ Styles in 2018, all of a sudden become the vegan world champion. It's kind of that Sami thing of like, I had to do it. I just had to do it. I have to be world champion. And he was willing to sacrifice that friendship, that brotherhood with Jey Uso. I don't know. I heard it and I was like, I want that.
So what about KO turns babyface, wins the title at Rumble. Sami comes out, power bombs him on the apron, and gets him back for when Kevin did it to him in NXT. And Sami goes into Mania as heel KO babyface.
I mean, to be fair, KO is loved anyway. Like, even though Kevin is right, he's meant to be the dastardly heel, and we all still like, we want KO to beat Cody. Like, so it kind of works. It would work. And the thing is like, the KO and Sami story will never die. It will never finish. Never. And it's like, I would be so happy to see the role reversed. You know, I mean, KO said this past week on Raw, like, you know, I kind of understand why, you went on Roman's side. Like, it's different to when Cody did it. Like, all them times I screwed you over, you're a good guy. You forgave me and you forgave Roman. That's why, because you're a nice guy.
It's the best.
Well, Sammy's not a nice guy anymore. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Kick KO in the balls and powerbomb him on the apron. Why not? I'm down for that as well. How about the Blue World Order versus the Latino World Order at WrestleMania? Johnny, now you're cooking, my friend.
Oh, God, dear, no. Help me now.
Bring back the blue meanie. Hopefully not JBL on the same show. PS says, I got to say something about the Pure Fusion Collective. Can Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, can they stop fighting in matches with black pants and black t-shirts and put on their old ring gear? But it's the PFC way. That's how they dress.
Dude, if your biggest problem is their ring gear, I think you're missing the point because they suck in general, man. Their promos suck. They can't get a win. I don't get me wrong. I know what you mean by wrestler identity. Zoe Stark obviously used to wrestle in that one, the trousers that were one full leg, the other half was a shortcut, and it was like a unique aesthetic. But their biggest problem is generally just them three being in a faction, and they just need to not be together.
To be fair, the group. I mean, we've talked about. I think we've all had this conversation before. It's not quite worked out for them, is it? And it's a shame because this is a group that should have worked. I when I saw him come out this week on Raw, I saw Sonya Deville and I just thought to myself, and I'm going to swear him about, she just looked pissed off. She just didn't look happy, and I was like, I kind of felt myself like I felt. In that moment, I was just watching. I was like, "Yeah, you three deserve better than what you're currently being dished up and served."
Sonya is very unfortunate with just things that happen because I'm pretty sure the reason why she was off telly was that stuff to do with the home breaking that she had, which is why she was off telly for long as well. And when she was the last time she was on telly, she was actually teaming with Chelsea Green, and those two. Were a fantastic dynamic and a great tag team, and it's a shame that they couldn't go back to that. So unfortunately, like I said, Sonya Deville has suffered from outside wrestling events, which have obviously kept her off of TV. But yeah, the fact that Zoe Stark's banging on about winning that IC title, and Sonya and Shayna are all like, one of us will win it, and it's like they're already teasing the breakup. Just do it, man. Get it over and done with.
I totally agree. And obviously, Sonya was champion when she got injured as well, so. She'd finally worked hard, got herself to that moment, and then it broke away. And she's perfect for like to be a challenger for Lyra. By the way, I'd like to see Sonya go for that title, but Lyra to keep hold of the title for now. Since Thea Hale left Chase U, she's not been on TV, and that sucks according to Roy. To be fair, it does suck. Thea Hale has got a lot of energy.
She was in the backstage segment of someone's thing last week because I saw her sitting in the locker room depressed. I'm sure I remember seeing her.
It seems to be. I think a lot of them are depressed. Andre Chase was depressed as well in NXT last week. It's a running theme at the minute for them. They may be depressed tonight. We'll have to wait and see. And why since WrestleMania 36 when Becky Lynch beat her for the Raw Women's Championship, Shayna Baszler was never the same. And why Vince McMahon now Triple H seen nothing in Baszler? Alex Steve, the floor's yours,
dude. Like I said, I've said this many times before. Go back to vicious Shayna Baszler that's biting people's necks and taking chunks out of them and causing them to bleed. Because when that Shayna Baszler debuted, great stuff. The problem that Triple H has now got is he has too much good talent. And it's not a bad thing, but when Shayna came up, they were very light on top of top card talent. And at the minute, Shayna has there's no way at the minute for Shayna to get back into that top card picture. You think of the names alone. So you've got Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Liv Morgan. Do you know what I mean? That's 6 names already that are above Shayna Baszler in the pecking order. And let's be honest, they need to get rid of this PFC faction, and they need to do something with Shayna, but unfortunately, it's just been so long in the process that I think she's going to find it really hard to get back to the top of the card. Yeah,
especially when you look then, obviously, the next down in line, the coming up, then obviously Tiffany Stratton, who now actually is a world champion as well. No, but Roxanne Perez is there, and then you look and see that there's Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, all these Zarya that have come in. It's just like, you're right. There's nowhere back. It's terrible to say. Because, there should always be a door open, but Vince McMahon booking for Shayna Baszler ruined Shayna Baszler. I don't blame Triple H's booking, although I do think that she could be a great tag team wrestler for the tag division with Zoe Stark. I like the dynamic of the group. I just don't like the name of the group. I don't like that they're suffering L's every week. They should be more credible. But like you said, there's too much talent there that they fall to the wayside at the moment, and the group just isn't working out. But I mean, obviously, I think the real point, and Jonesy, if you're listening, you'll remember this. you remember Shayna Baszler with the Lily doll on it, Steve?
Yeah, unfortunately.
That killed it. That did it. If anyone wants to know,
Making her terrified of a doll. Yeah.
yep. Not even beating Ronda Rousey convincingly at SummerSlam could change that.
If they'd have made it so that the Lily doll was like Chucky, and that they'd somehow record this thing running around chasing Shayna, would be fine. But she was essentially scared of a doll that would just appear on a shelf.
Mm.
That's it. And yeah, they're just again horrible creative, man.
It's terrible creative indeed. Mrs. Im's UK ordered a Big Mac, 20 chicken nuggets, and chicken select and a large Coke. Eating the lot. Do you know what? I could go for that right now. It's good. It's good. I love a Mackie.
But sure.
Sorry?
Sounds too much for me, but sure.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know if I would. It's not my traditional Mackie order. Do you have a traditional Mackie order?
Normally I get one of the wraps, or if I get anything, I just get the 20 nuggets because I don't like. I'm eating 20 nuggets. I don't really need anything else.
I'm a double quarter pounder man myself.
Oh no, too much. Can't do it.
I've got the reputation of two burger Steve. Almost, it's got to be two burgers always. So it doesn't need to be two buns, but it needs to be two burgers. Kurt Angle said he wished he had retired 10 years before he did. I believe that is also in the same Chris Van Vliet interview, which, I hope to check out later this week in some way or fashion. Just before we close off the video.
I was just going to say, do you reckon Kurt Angle suffered in his TNA run? Because obviously he went through a lot. Like, obviously, when he left WWE initially and went to TNA, and he obviously had a load of problems outside of the ring. Like, do you reckon his TNA run hurt him? Or was it just almost like he had a great run in TNA, but like, I don't know. I just seemed like I think that there were other things to prioritize other than wrestling. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, in ring wise, Kurt Angle had some phenomenal stuff in TNA. You could argue his TNA stuff's better than his WWE stuff. That's how good some of the matches are meant to be. I've seen some of them. Obviously, the matches with like AJ Styles, for example. I remember a random match with Amazing Red that was just on an Impact show. I was like, freaking hell, this is amazing. But yeah, Angle gets Samoa Joe as well. There's some great stuff there. We will go back and watch at some point. But yeah, I think I was always hoping that call would come back. It didn't quite happen until it was too late, unfortunately. But he did get to wrestle in the WWE ring again. But yeah, that I think was when Kurt was probably past the best at that point, unfortunately. But yeah, I do think there was some other stuff that was going on for him at the time as well. Byron says Royal Rumble is a blue and white feel. It certainly does this year. So expect that sort of color scheme when we get into proper Royal Rumble predictions themes. NXT Royal Rumble predictions next Tuesday. Does it work for you?
Yeah, up for it, mate. Totally up for it. It's gonna be fun, man. Like just predicting Final Four. Who's gonna go the distance? It's a lot to think about, but I do. In general, just favorite time of the year. So I look forward to it.
Freaking love it. Wrestling Days made a video apparently where John Cena figure was put in the microwave for 20 minutes and it slinked and it melted. That's I'm surprised there. We see this is where we're lacking on the content in it, Steve. This is what the people must be wanting, I guess.
I imagine the views on that are probably more than any video you've probably ever got is someone microwaving a John Cena figure.
I know. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing at this point. It's snowing in Florida, in this part of Florida, which Tallahassee, I want to say, for the first time since 1989. Amazing. Well, if you're a snow person, I hope you enjoy it. Really do. Make the most of it. Is the new Royal Rumble graphics going to be the match card graphics going forward? Hard to know, to be honest, Byron, but certainly it's this year's. I quite like it. Johnny asks Mercedes Moné versus Chris Statlander. First match or second match, which is better?
Oh, dude, I can't say I remember the first one, so I'm going to go with the second one, if I'm honest. Dude, Chris Statlander, honestly, leaps and bounds has become, I don't know whether it's the change of character, but has started to become such a bigger name in AEW now, and I'm really glad about that.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to go second as well, just because I think it's a bit of recency bias. I think both matches are fantastic, but yeah, going to go with the recency bias. It's the one I remember more clearly as well. And Christopher agrees there. Roxanne President, Cora Jade also in the Rumble for NXT. Love that shout indeed.
That's
Just
not a
before we
bad
close
shout.
off,
Masha Slamovich is going to be in there.
oh yes, give it to me. Give it to me. Just before we close off the video, because we promised people this at the start of the video, it's an hour and 33 minutes later. So we're going to thank everyone for your questions. You've all been amazing. But just to round things off today, is this Royal Rumble the most stacked men's Royal Rumble in WWE history, or certainly for a long time? The names that have been announced so far feel Hall of Fame level, or many ex-world champions. We're talking the likes of John Cena, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth frickin' Rollins, Drew McIntyre. Also, know we've got the likes of Rey Mysterio, main event Jey Uso, and of course Sami Zayn have all entered the field. It does sound like a stacked Rumble to me.
Yeah, I think we was literally talking last week about 91, I think it was, or one of the first Rumbles that is all tag team wrestlers, and it just shows how good the roster is at the minute. If you can put, I think they've announced 9 names so far, and every one of them is top tier, if not on the precipice of top tier. I think LA Knight, yeah, is the other one. Do you know what I mean? He's on the verge of being top tier talent. And it's like, if you've got 9 guys, this is what I mean. This is why this could possibly be one of the most like hardest to call in terms of winner for the men's one, because there's so many people that should, could, and maybe will win it. And dude, I'm gassed about it.
I'm gassed about it as well. There's nothing I love more than an open Royal Rumble, and when there's so many big names in there, it's like literally there is an excuse for so many people, like CM Punk at the top of the video there, because he's never main evented a WrestleMania. Roman Reigns, he's not won one in a decade, and everyone hated the one he won. So it's kind of like, if he was to win one now, I think people would feel kind of differently about it. So it's kind of like, look, this is the Rumble where people didn't hate Roman Reigns, you know. John Cena, 17th world title, though I agree with you, it's all about the heartbreak. That's what we want to see. The final for the Shawn Michaels moment from 2010. Sami Zayn, can he have that moment? Is he at the level that he says he is? He reckons it's the same with these top guys in the company, but is he going to be at the level? Time will tell. Drew McIntyre is still looking to be a world champion again and get to the top of the mountain, sort of get to that WrestleMania main event. Seth frickin' Rollins is looking to do it again. I mean, there's so many names, there's so many reasons, and you know, we have world champions there that can make some incredible dream matches as well. So I'm excited for the Rumble. I think it's one of the most stacked ones ever. I did see there 2017 was pretty stacked as well. That's the year of Undertaker, Lesnar, Goldberg, Randy Orton, and more were involved in that Rumble. It was a stacked one. 92 is one of the likes of, you know, Ric Flair, Hogan, Slaughter, Savage was meant to be in there. I think we had Sid Justice, Shawn Michaels, British Bulldog, Ted DiBiase. It was a stacked field when you look through that one as well. So there's some really stacked Rumbles throughout the years, but I think this one certainly feels the most stacked in a long time, and I'm very excited to see what it plays out this year, especially when you flip the coin to the women's. As Christopher's mentioned here, only Bayley and Nia Jax so far have been announced for the women's Rumble. So at the moment, it's a 50-50 on that prediction, but I'm pretty sure NXT does not mind that, because that means we've got a lot of surprises on the way.
Just gives me a reason to get excited. Like, as long as we get to the point where, like, the last couple of entrants are complete mysteries, I'll be excited.
Absolutely. And I think, Byron, you could be right with a lot of those names. I certainly expect Logan Paul to be in the Rumble, maybe Ludwig Kaiser as well. And Judgment Day could be a good shout as well. Can I speak the Swedish language? Liten. I can speak a little bit of Swedish, but not enough. I'm still learning at this particular time. And as it's 12:30 at night, I'm not going to make your ears bleed trying to do that. But I will do Jag tror på Joe Hendry. There you go. I believe in Joe Hendry for you in Swedish, just to close off the video. But thank you all for watching. Look after yourselves and each other. We'll be back tomorrow for SCW Rewind. We're going to do a Royal Rumble 2000. And also, we'd like to know your thoughts of any Royal Rumble content you want to see before next week. Do you want to see another Royal Rumble Q&A along with the predictions? Do you want to see some fantasy booking of the Royal Rumble matches? Get involved at the end of this video in the comments section of the video, because it helps the algorithm on YouTube. So let me know what you want to see. That content could be on the way.
I saw an idea. Well, actually, I saw a video someone put out. Fantasy booking the worst Royal Rumble ever.
I saw that as well. I'm tempted to watch it. Tempted to watch it.
It's really good if it's the one I saw.
Reckon it might be as well. So yeah, I might give that a watch. But yeah, look after yourselves and each other. In the meantime, check out more videos on this channel right now. If you want to see my predictions for Saturday night's main event, that was released earlier today. So make sure to go and check that out now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your questions. You're all awesome. Take care, and we'll see you for the next video. Take care. Also, big thanks to Alex Steve next to me. Absolute ledge.